Hi, everybody. My name is Melanie Schepmans. I'm a junior over at UF studying sustainability with minors in religion, environmental justice and policy, agriculture and natural resource ethics and policy, and environmental science on a pre-law track. And today, Ellen invited me to talk a little bit about my faith journey and how that led to climate activism. So a little bit about me, again, I'm a sustainability major and these are my minors. I'm heavily involved in the Sunrise Movement Gainesville. I'm actually the hub coordinator or president. Our hub has created an initiative called the Green New Deal for UF campaign, which I'll talk about a little bit later. I'm also an MFOS scholar, which is a scholarship for low-income first-generation college students. And I've also been doing work with Alachua County to do some outreach for their climate action plan and get some community insight on it. So something I've talked a lot about while studying religion at UF is the role of human beings on Earth, who we are and why has God put us here, which is the central theme for many religions. But my focus personally has been on what kind of person does Christianity call us to be. By no means is this an exhaustive list, but rather I like to say an executive summary. So loving one another encompasses generosity and charity, putting others before yourself and doing no harm to others. My favorite verse here has to be John 4:16, reading, God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. All we do must be done in love. The Bible is explicit in defining the accumulation of wealth and material possessions as a distraction from the duties of a Christian and the relationship with God, and therefore a pathway to sin. We find meaning in life by upholding these teachings of Christ: humbleness, humility, generosity, frugality, and love. We should have faith and trust in God that if we serve the Lord by following these commands, we'll be taken care of. The generosity and charity is not solely reserved in a monetary sense, but also through these traits. We must be generous to all people who lack not only money, but care, love, and justice within society. We're driven to action through verses such as Isaiah 1:17, learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, and please the widow's cause. We're never to sit back and accept wrong doing in any way. Human beings are explicitly called, first in Genesis 2:15, to care for creation. Creation is undoubtedly a sacred place where God's divine nature, eternal power, and even invisible qualities are revealed to humans, as described in Romans, showcasing a relationship with nature to be one of the great spiritual significances. Controversy begins when we talk about Genesis 1:28, as it has historically been used to justify exploitation of people and the planet for profit. But if we understand God to be love and understand these duties we are given, to be fruitful and multiply does not solely mean to have children, but to be productive with our time on earth, showing people who God is through the expression of these duties, and increase the number of people who live in accordance with these duties. So these duties very poetically actually string together the central tenets of sustainability. And it's an understanding this that I know why God led me here to study sustainability. In truth, sustainability has many definitions, but we typically settle with a definition from the UN regarding sustainable development. So that would be meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability for future generations to meet their needs. This requires a radical reduction in the use of Earth's resources, consumption, and waste production. We are only able to consume resources at the rate we do because of the exploitation of resource-rich areas in the global south, such as Africa. An example of this exploitation is in the Niger River Delta, where oil companies have autonomous control over the oil resources. An oil spill equivalent to the Exxon Valdez spill occurs every year in this region, decimating the fisheries industry and the people here dependent on them for sustenance. The economic benefits of industry that led to development are not realized as no money is diverted back into the community, resulting in a lack of running water and basic infrastructure, such as schools and homes. This disproportionate share of burdens is seen in the US too, in communities such as Cancer Alley in Louisiana. This name stems from the highest cancer rates in the nation due to unregulated pollution from the most concentrated area of plastic plants in the entire United States. So sustainability is aiming here to reduce the use of resources to a level that can be replicated for generations without the unwilling and necessary sacrifices of groups such as those I just discussed. Addressing the intersectionality between caring for others and reducing pollution, environmental justice is an important facet of sustainability that addresses the duties of Christians to liberate people and the rest of organisms on Earth from oppression and suffering. It's difficult to sum up the intersection of environmental degradation to all social issues in one PowerPoint slide, but because of this intersection, the climate crisis and all things related are clearly the biggest threat of our time. And sustainability, luckily, provides a secular name for what it means to be a modern Christian, where all of our duties come together to make a difference. Finally, sustainability is a call for community building around the world, as it's necessary to reduce the dependency on corporations and foreign entities to reduce emissions and therefore increase justice. When we increase control of our sustenance by decreasing the distance between the production of the things we need to survive, we can reduce emissions and increase the quality of life for all people, providing the opportunity for equal access. Further, sustainability is a combination of liberation theology and Jesus' teachings in the New Testament, as I provided earlier. So this is kind of what motivates me, well, kind of wholly motivates me in my work in environmental advocacy, my modern discipleship and projection of my reverence for the teachings of Jesus Christ. So I want to talk a little bit about my most recent effort of sustainability, which is the Green New Deal for UF campaign. Hopefully you've heard about it, but truth be told, press coverage is definitely not our main concern. The Green New Deal for UF started as a resolution that was passed unanimously within UF student government and has become the most sponsored bill in UF history. This resolution has 5 volumes. The first is passing the university's Climate Action Plan 2.0, which is a revised version of the first Climate Action Plan outlining exactly that. The university's plan to reduce emissions to meet national targets and attack issues of the infrastructural changes that are necessary for us to implement renewable energy, especially as the university is growing. So this is actually just awaiting the signature of the president of the university to be enforceable. Next is a call for transparency that would address the reporting of the university's emissions in a publicly available format, as well as publicly available information of our investment in the fossil fuel industry and how this industry further funds our endowment. The third volume of the resolution is a call for divestment from fossil fuels. We cite in the resolution a number of notable schools that have divested, including Georgetown, Harvard, Cornell, Dartmouth, Brown, NYU, Boston University, University of Michigan, American University, and I honestly could keep going, but those are the big tickets. These schools serve as a reminder that we need to act fast to be considered a leader of divestment among public universities and further universities in Florida. A pledge for clean research that is not funded by the fossil fuel industry is our 4th volume, where we cite the moral responsibility of our university as a research institution to uphold academic integrity and global initiatives to remove fossil fuels as an energy source. Finally, we have a call for a just transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy. This is calling on legislators and the university to acknowledge the communities and groups of people that are going to be bearing disproportionate burdens during this transition, notably Indigenous populations and people of color. The strategy of this campaign is inspired by the successful divestment campaign headed by fellow Sunrise Movement student activists at NYU in 2022. Their main argument was that it's the moral responsibility of a university to engage in the welfare of its students by not further contributing to the problem of the climate crisis, and rather focusing on finding and building the solutions. This moral argument is largely a recapitulation of these core Christian duties and values that I've discussed, and has allowed me to speak in settings like these, calling those who believe in the same God as me to understand what side of this movement they're called to be on. To provide some updates on our campaign, we have given public comment at the past Board of Trustees meeting in March, addressing the need for passing the Climate Action Plan, and were received very positively by the board. And while we're working to meet with them individually, we're working with also the UF Faculty Senate to write and pass a sister resolution that will provide further support to the board. A petition that can be signed by UF students and UF faculty has been circulating and has garnered almost 1,000 signatures, which again further shows the desire for this action from campus. And I want to thank Ellen for the opportunity to share my story a little bit and a tiny bit of the work I'm doing to live out my faith. I apologize for not being able to attend in person, but if you would like to contact me with any questions about myself, my faith, or how you can get involved with this conversation further, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. I put it up on the screen. And as much as we're working to build allies within the university, we're always looking for community support as well. So again, thank you for listening and have a great rest of your day.